March 16, 1957. A Douglas C-47 military transport plane with Philippine President Ramon Magsaysay landed at Lihaug Airport, which is located in Cebu City, to attend several meetings and speeches. After brief courtesy visits to former President Sergio Osmeña and Archbishop Julio Rosales, Ramon gave speeches at several universities and visited the residence of Mayor Sergio Osmeña Jr., where a ball was organized in his honor. Around midnight, Ramon drove back to the airport. 1:30 in the night, Air Force One prepares to fly back to Manila at Nichols Field. A Philippine Air Force C-47A and Magsaysay's official presidential aircraft, which was recently purchased with less than 100 hours of flight time. Douglas is about to be piloted by a crew of 5 Philippine Air Force officers led by Major Florencio Paber. In addition to President Ramon, there are 20 passengers in the cabin, among them Minister of Education Gregorio Hernandez, Representative Pedro Lopez, and Commander of the Philippine Air Force General Benito Ebuan. Also on board was former Olympian Felipe Nunig, who at the time served as Magsaysay's adjutant. Other passengers included various civilian and military aides to the president and 3 journalists.
How Tower, good night. Air Force One is ready for takeoff. Call sign 925.
Good night 925. Tower Shack, takeoff clear. Climb to initial altitude of 3000 feet.
At 1 o'clock in the morning, the flight number took off safely from Cebu and headed for Manila. Normally, all regular flights from Cebu to Manila were parallel to the coast before gaining enough altitude. But our crew decided to bypass these rules of the scheme and headed straight north towards the mountain range located in the center of Cebu Island, apparently to save time. At 1:17 a.m., the aircraft contacted the Malacanang Palace.
Good night. This is Captain Florencio Paber. The estimated time of the President's arrival at Nichols Field Air Force Base is around 3:15 a.m. Prepare people and transport.
Okay, I understand you. Tell the President what's expected of him.
This radio message was the last from Air Force One. President Ramon Magsaysay enjoyed wide popularity among his people. In the field of foreign policy, Magsaysay adhered to a pro-American course and opposed the spread of communist ideas during the Cold War. Under him, the Philippines became a member of SEATO Southeast Asia Treaty Organization. However, with the communist rebels from Hukbalahap, the armed wing of the Communist Party of the Philippines, he conducted not only armed struggle, but also negotiations through his envoy Benigno Aquino Jr. Ramon was loved by the people and was preparing for his re-election in November of this year. 4 a.m., Nichols Field Air Force Base. When the plane did not show up at the expected time of arrival, the alarm was raised. By breakfast time, First Lady Luz Magsaysay and the rest of the president's family reported that the president's plane was missing. A few hours later, the Philippine Armed Forces, with the assistance of the Air Force and the U.S. Navy, began a search operation on land and sea. Initially, the search was focused on the sea since the main part of the route passed over the ocean. News quickly spread throughout Manila and the rest of the Philippines. Many people were shocked to hear about the incident. Already in the afternoon, a city official in Cebu announced that the plane had crashed on the slopes of Mount Manunggal in Balamban, about 21 miles northwest of Cebu City. Several local residents heard the sounds of the crash, and on the morning of the 17th they saw the burning wreckage of the aircraft. As they approached the crash site, they found one survivor. Nestor Mata, a reporter for the Philippine Herald newspaper, whom they lowered down the mountain and gave first aid. Mata, who suffered second and third degree burns, was immediately taken to the hospital. In addition to the reporter, no one managed to survive in the crash. The next day, March 18th, military rescuers arrived at the crash site. President Magsaysay's body was identified by his brother by his wristwatch, and his identity was later confirmed by dental records. It was found that at the time of the crash, Magsaysay was in his room, located immediately behind the cockpit. Hours after the body of President Ramon Magsaysay was formally identified, Vice President Carlos P. Garcia was sworn in as the 8th President of the Philippines. At the time of the disaster, he was in Australia at a conference of the Southeast Asia Treaty Organization. Unlike Ramon, Carlos Garcia was less pro-American. He pursued a policy of openness towards foreign investors and cost optimization. At the same time, he sought to support his own production and limit the influence of American capital. According to the initial version, the cause of the plane crash of President Ramon was sabotage. Magsaysay first rose to prominence when, as Minister of Defense, he led the fight against the communist Hukbalahap insurgency. However, no evidence has been found to support this theory. On April 27, 1957, Philippine Police Chief General Manuel F. Cabal testified before a Senate committee. He stated that on March 17, 1957, at 1:40 a.m., while climbing, the right engine carburetor drive shaft burst, causing a power outage. The plane then lost control and crashed into the slopes of Mount Manunggal. But can this version be considered true? When the president and members of the government crash on a completely new plane, this leads to some reflections. But one way or another, the exact causes of the disaster are still not known.